Learn the first rule is not judging things by appearances, right? Learning not to judge appearances. Never trust what you see with your eye. Always focus on people's actions, all right, rather than their words. And learn not to categorize people that you meet instantly, right? Why? Because learning to focus on actions and not words, you're learning to pretty much judge people's behavior rather than the words that they say, right? Because by naturally, humans have a natural fear of death, all right? And one of the ways that humans deal with the fear of death is by not updating the way people change over time, by keeping a stagnant view of time where you don't update them, right? And you don't pay attention to how people's character changes over time. That's a way to almost like stop time itself. So what you want to do is don't look at people's charity, how they don't look at people's words and public acts that are deemed positive, right? Because public acts, anything that's done in the social realm, is pretty much for appearances for the most part. You want to focus more on the negative acts and how negative they are, because that says more about the person. The good things that people do in public really shouldn't be used to judge them. What you should use to judge people is the severity of the negative things that they do, because those things they can't control. So that says a lot more about their character than the positive things that they say, right? And also, don't let a person's innocence fool you into letting your guard down, okay? Especially when you first meet people. Just because somebody looks 100% perfect and harmless doesn't mean that they are, all right? Because a lot of narcissists cloak themselves in sheep's clothing when in reality deep down they're wolves, right? Because and the way that they cloak themselves with innocence is through words, right? Because words are pretty much dust in your eyes to divert you from their behavior. The more a man says how good he is, the more a man talks about his good traits, the more you should look into to verify those acts, to verify what he's saying with actions. Always follow through with people who you initially meet, like a job that calls the references you give them. So things that you could do is just look at their social media, right? Find out people who hate them, find out exes who they had a bad breakup with, and ask them about them, especially people who they have a problem with, right? So that's one thing, right? Is learning not to judge appearances. So other ways to look through the appearances that they give you is by you showing weakness, right? Showing weakness and seeing how they react. You could talk about how something bad happened to you, like maybe you're somebody that was abused, as an example, right? Or it could be that you let him get away with some things at first, right? Let him be late on the date and you don't call him out. Does he do it again? Right? Text him fast and see how does he react to your quick text, to you responding fast. Does the fact that you're responding fast cause him to respond slower? Right? Show eagerness to see him and see how does he react to your eagerness. Right? Does he all of a sudden start acting cocky, start pulling away, start taking your kindness for weakness? Right? That's a way to reveal the aggressive part of his personality, because weakness pretty much brings out aggression in people. Because when somebody sees your weaknesses and how they deal with your weaknesses says a lot about them. Also, since humans naturally judge appearances, because we are human animals and human animals it's too stressful to have to look into everything. It's too stressful to have to verify everything, to have to question everything that you see. We wouldn't be able to function. So we naturally have an automatic categorizing system and schema in our minds to save energy. And as a result, we are very susceptible to appearances. We are very susceptible to illusions, right? So what you want to do is use it to your advantage. Right? Learn to hide certain parts of your personality to people and reveal that part over time. Right? Learn to hide certain weaknesses at first. Right? That and reveal it over time. Learn to hide some positive traits about you and reveal it over time. When you reveal everything too quick, it says insecurity. When you reveal things over time, it actually gives you more depth, more roundness, more depthness as a person. And it's actually a lot more attractive if they find the best things about you a little later on in the relationship. By the way, if you guys ever want to work with me one-on-one, you guys could click on the description down below where it says work with me one-on-one, and you guys can see all of the coaching options that I have with you, where you guys can talk to me individually about your dating issues. Let's continue. So that's one thing. Don't judge appearances. Learn to, if he looks like a perfect guy, step back. If he reminds you of somebody in your past, step back, right? You're pretty much projecting. So take a step back. And speaking of projecting, the next thing we want to do is don't let your emotions control how you see a person. Emotions guide us through our decision making, not our intellect. That's why some people don't know how they made friends. If you ask them, how did you make friends? They'll tell you, I just made friends. Or how they achieved something. It was an emotional compulsion. It wasn't a rational thing. Each emotion causes us to be ready to act based on the general gist of the situation. For example, fear, right? The emotion of fear. Let's say you're walking down the street and a friend randomly scares you. The fear response will create a reflexive action where you possibly could hit them, right? That fear response causes that reflex of hitting, right? And so what happens is that automatically you hit them. Fear naturally causes a flood of blood in the arms and hands, right? In order to hit something to defend yourself. Why? Because over years of evolution and people who survived, that action of hitting something that makes you scared instantly has led to survival, right? So it has created a deep neural network in the brain through natural selection, so that everyone who is alive does that kind of movement, right? Not everyone, but most people. Right. It helped. Maybe some animals, when they see, for example, another example is some animals, when they see certain foods, when they see a food, the reflex response is to automatically open its mouth and eat. Right. It's like an automatic response. Right. So you put something in the mouth of an alligator is not going to say, time to eat. No, it's more like an automatic response. Right. At the thought of maybe eating something. So we have those automatic responses based on certain emotional states, right? So to humans, we want to be able to not have that automatic response, because we have transcended that because of our neocortex. We have now a middleman between the limbic system, right, and our awareness of the emotional response. And that middleman is pretty much the last part of your brain that developed, right? And that's the rational part of your brain. Our encounters socially are not shaped by our rational thought of them. They're really not. But more on our emotional circuitry. And the way that we respond to people are based on what we have experienced in life. If somebody doesn't like you, if somebody doesn't appear based on who they are, don't just react with anger, with frustration, with resentment towards people, right? Learn to take a step back and say to yourself, how did I misinterpret the situation? How did I not see who this person was? What were the first signs that showed me who they really were from the beginning? Because this is going to take a lot, making mistakes in order to reshape the apertures of how you see people and get a clearer picture. Right? You got to get through the gunk. You got to get through the projections. You got to get through all of those cloudy smokes that's pretty much fogging reality. Right? And the way that you do that is by not allowing the setbacks to stop you. Right? And understanding that you're going to make mistakes. You're going to misinterpret people. You're going to let your emotions cloud what you see. But in that moment of making those mistakes, right? If you don't adjust when you make mistakes and not cry and complain, right? Your setbacks will deter you if you allow it to do that to you. Setbacks have a tendency to force us to learn new skills based on the limited resources that we have. Usually these skills are very important to the work. And when things go wrong, when you get played, when somebody hurts you, when somebody dumps you, when a guy or a girl that you're meeting completely disappoints you and you misinterpreted her, right? It is that moment that you analyze your mistakes so that you could prepare for the next person that you meet. And the next person that you meet, your eyes will be more open. You're going to be aware and attuned of certain patterns of deception a little bit better. And the more people that you meet, the more you keep your eyes open, the less you project, the clearer picture that you have of the person, and the easier it is for you to make a decision about whether or not this person is right for you, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life, this is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces, one is 19 and one is 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're going to be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man. Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one will teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women of power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you can read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so most likely I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you can pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. Oh, I'm closing the channel.